Merry Christmas, UCC Medfield. We're so glad that you chose to spend a little bit of your Christmas day with us.
It's Christmas 2022. It's been such a great season. Week 5 of our Glimpses of Glory series. We're so excited to do this with you today. Let's jump right in.
So we got you to the part, the climax of the story where Jesus was born. But we want to take a look at this story just a little bit deeper. In Luke chapter 2, starting in verse 8, it says, "And there were shepherds living out in the fields nearby, keeping watch over their flocks at night. An angel of the Lord appeared to them, and the glory of the Lord shone around them, but they were terrified. The angel said to them, 'Do not be afraid. I bring you good news that will cause great joy for all the people.'" I don't know if you noticed, but that glory word is in there. And earlier in this series, we talked about the 3 things that we respond to glory with. The first is that we have to see God's glory. And today on Christmas, it should be the easiest time for us to see God's glory, because God's glory was shown most perfectly in his son Jesus. And so today really is about celebrating seeing God's glory through Jesus. But it's not just seeing, we also reflect God's glory.
And so you know me. You know that if I'm going to deliver any message, however brief it's supposed to be, I've got to paint at least a little picture. So here it is. If you come up to the doorway, you would see the ruins, the rubble, the disaster everywhere. But if you'd looked at it earlier in its prime, it would have just been about 3 hours earlier, you would have seen the room just decked out, gifts perfectly wrapped, a tree decorated beautifully with ornaments that look like they were whimsically placed, but you can detect the strategy and design behind them. You would have seen a roaring fire, and now you look and we're sitting amongst the rubble, the aftermath of a Christmas morning at my place. And in the midst of that, I think it's my son who says, as he's pretending to put together a brand new toy or Lego set, he goes, "Dad, how soon until I have to go back to school?" And it's in that moment that I realized, I think my son just captured it. He captured what he and all of his classmates are thinking and feeling, what I and everybody who's going back to work are thinking and feeling, what our society in general tends to do just within a few hours of that burst of Christmas joy. Our minds immediately shift to, how soon can Christmas end? How soon will it be over? More specifically, how quickly can I pack Christmas away and get on with life? But it was different that first time, and maybe, just maybe, it can be different for us today. So I'm going to read the story to you quickly from the Gospel of Matthew. When they had gone, it says in Matthew chapter 2, verse 13, we're talking about the wise men here, but it also includes at this point the shepherds and everybody else who had originally come. When they'd gone, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream. "Get up," he said, "take the child and his mother and escape to Egypt and stay there until I tell you. For Herod is going to search for the child to kill him." And so Joseph got up. He took the child, his mother, during the night and left for Egypt, where he stayed until the death of Herod. You see, for them, after everybody had left, after grandma's visiting and cousins and friends and neighbors who come over, the carolers who knock on your door, after everybody'd gone home, Christmas still lingered. See, for them, once they saw Jesus, once they saw God wrapped in flesh as a baby and allowed Jesus to enter their lives, nothing stayed the same. There was nothing to package away and tuck away until Christmas time next year. For them, the indwelling of God's glory in their lives meant that nothing stayed the same. And from that moment on, their life was turned completely upside down because God had plans. And so it's on us now. Are we going to just tuck Christmas away in a box, put away the lights, and wait until next year when we can fire off those hideous Christmas cards that we expect people to hang on their fridge? Or are we going to continue to reflect the glory that Christmas represents every day going forward? More than just telling you guys what it might look like to reflect glory and Jesus in our lives over the coming year, what we want to do is show you the way that our friends in rural Kenya who work at flying kites continually, day over day, reflect and embody Christmas in the work that they do through the voice of two of our very own people from UCC Medfield. Let's take a look together.
Flying Kites was founded on a dream. A dream to transform primary education in rural Kenya. Today, the 9 primary schools, 171 teachers, 5,000 students, and 18,000 family members served by Flying Kites are signs that this dream is becoming a reality. A couple weeks ago, Brandon and I had the opportunity to go to Kenya. While we were in Kenya, we were able to go to rural Kenya, a town called Jabini, and spend time with Flying Kites and the schools in the Flying Kites community.
We left Flying Kites to go to a school called Chania.
One of the schools that we visited is a primary school. It's preschool up to 8th grade.
It's very different than the schools here.
The students receive one meal every day, and that meal is uji. It's a hot porridge that the moms in the community are making in the kitchen and the school, and it's a dirt floor, and the meal is cooked over an open fire in a very poorly ventilated building.
When we got to the kitchen, we saw it was made almost all out of sticks, and the roof was made of just like tin. We went inside and there was a lot of just dirt on the floor with a little bit of sticks around, and there was a pile of firewood. And then on one side of it, there were 2 big metal pots with brown uji cooking in it.
Once this porridge is prepared, it is taken out in pitchers, and there are cups, plastic cups lined up on the table, and the moms pour the porridge into these cups, and it is boiling hot, and they take just a moment for it to cool off, and then the children pour into the open area, and each one grabs a cup of this warm porridge.
They don't eat the uji with a spoon, they drink the uji, but out of plastic cup, not a ceramic oil cup.
And they spend the next 15 or 20 minutes in community, sitting on the grass and chatting, where they're able to drink their porridge and really fill themselves up and be sustained for the entire day with this amazing fortified porridge that Flying Kites assures every single one of their students is able to have.
They learn a lot of things like kids here do. There was a chalkboard with multiplication on it, and there was a teacher at the front, and it seemed like they were learning multiplication at that time when we came in. And they all loved my hair.
Flying Kites believes that education is a path out of poverty. Since 2016, UCC Medfield has supported Flying Kites with more than $50,000. Just this year, our church's generosity made Flying Kites' school meals program possible. The school meals programs delivers a warm meal for every student, every day. Flying Kites teams up with educators, community leaders, and families to address the most significant barrier to learning in their communities: hunger. Every child has the right to go to school. Flying Kites makes sure every child can stay in school.
That was the story of just one of the partners that we get to work with to reflect God's glory to the world. What an amazing way that we get to be a part of something across oceans, across the world, when you give here at UCC Medfield. a portion of everything that you give goes to places like flying kites. And that's one way that we reflect God's glory in the world. So thank you. Thank you for your generosity. Of course, you know it's not just flying kites, it's to the babies in the nursery, it's to the kids upstairs, it's to students on Sunday nights, it's to our friends at Woods Mullen and Boston. And guys, when you give, we get to reflect God's glory. We get to partner with him as his glory fills the earth. So we see God's glory, we reflect God's glory, but we also get to respond by giving God glory. See, none of this glory stuff comes from us. It's not our glory, it's God's. And in our story, after Jesus was born, after the shepherds came, in Luke chapter 2, we see that after the angels had left and they'd sang glory to God in the highest, the shepherds hurried off and found Mary and Joseph and the baby who was lying in the manger. Verse 17, when they had seen him, they spread the word concerning what had been told them about this child. And all who heard it were amazed at what the shepherds said to them. But Mary treasured up all these things and pondered them in her heart. The shepherds returned, glorifying and praising God for all the things they had heard and seen, which were just as they had been told. Friends, that is the final piece of this glimpses of glory. We aren't just supposed to see where God's glory is. We don't just reflect the glory that God is showing all around us. We actually give God's glory back to him. We, in front of the whole world, say, God, yours is the kingdom, the power, and the glory. This is all about you. And we get to live our lives, our Christmas-filled lives, for the rest of the time, giving God the glory, making God famous because of who he is and what he's done. And the way that we do that here at UCC Medfield is simple. We talk about it every single week. We love like Jesus. There's no more beautiful way to give God the glory than to love like his son loved. Like his son loved you, like his son loved me, like his son loved your neighbors. Friends, that is the message of Christmas. That's what glory is all about. And we're so grateful that we get to experience God's glory, reflect God's glory, and give God glory with you every single week. So thank you. Thank you for being a part of this UCC Medfield family. We're so excited about 2023. In fact, we're going to kick it off with what better way? Breakfast on January 1st, next Sunday morning. We're having church, but we're having it in Fellowship Hall, and we're having breakfast. So kids, wear your jammies. Big kids, I mean, if you want to wear your jammies, you can. We're going to meet together. We're going to eat together, which is my favorite thing to do as a community. We're going to have a devotion. We're going to sing some songs, and we're going to celebrate this new year that God has given us to give the world even more glimpses of his glory. We hope that you'll join us next Sunday morning at 10 a.m. in the Fellowship Hall for that first Christmas. I mean, yeah, I guess it's the first time we'll experience Christmas in the new year as well.
Yeah, I mean, eating is my favorite thing to do as well, not just in community, even if I'm all by myself. It is still my favorite thing. Yeah. And so Kayla's right. Let's call it Christmas because we want to dwell in what Christmas is. I mean, I'm tired of leading up to Christmas and a day that we celebrate that God wrapped himself in our flesh and broke into our world just to pack it up a few weeks later. And then it means very little the rest of my life. I'm tired of that. Church, I hope you are too.
Yeah, so let's celebrate. Let's celebrate all year long. Let's keep looking for these glimpses of glory, keep reflecting that glory, and let's keep giving God all the glory. We love you guys, and we'll see you next Sunday.
Bye guys, see you then.